the trap interview question. The purpose of a job interview, in a big sense, is to eliminate people. You start by getting applications. If you're posting it online, you can get hundreds of applications. Average of 6 people you would bring in for interviews. Eliminate 5 and you keep the best one, and then you offer the job to that one. So it's an elimination game. At every step, you're whittling down the pool of candidates down to 1, right? So one of the things that recruiters are doing and hiring managers are doing is they're looking for reasons to eliminate people. It's not the only thing they do. They also look for like points of value and stuff. But one thing they are actively trying to do is they're trying to look for red flags. They're trying to surface red flags so that they can eliminate you based on the red flags. This question is a classic example of that. You know, they say, what didn't you like about working for us? Right? And you say, where do I start? I mean, this was a terrible company. I had a terrible time here, to be honest. The only reason I'm here is just because I need money. You know, but man, the boss was an idiot. The work was stupid. Everything was totally inefficient. The morale here was terrible, right? Obviously, if you answer this, you've eliminated yourself, right? But they're happy they ask you this question because it surfaced this. So this is what they're fishing for, okay? It's like an ambush. If you give them the thing that they literally just asked for, you eliminate yourself. Introverts love this. Technical people love this. They love this, you know, arrangement. So the way to answer questions like this is to wriggle out of it. You say, well, actually, nothing really stands out that I didn't like. You know, I thought it was fine. I thought some things were really cool, you know, but there was no part of the role or my experience working here that I did not like. I think it was all a really cool experience for me. I learned quite a bit. Now you go into the strengths. I learned quite a bit. I saw a hell of a lot that was really interesting to me, how like what I do fits into like, you know, a larger sort of machine. It was really cool seeing that. I got to work with some great people. You know, I was kind of encouraged by how helpful some of the people were. And my boss was pretty good too. So there wasn't really any part that like stands out to me that I didn't like. I had a pretty good time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you answer the question. You wriggle out of the trap. Right? And they go, oh, okay. Not bad. Now, if they want to really play hardball and, you know, to put the screws to you, they do that amateur technique where they ask you the question again. They say, yeah, you know, that I understand. That's not really an answer though. But, you know, so like, I want to ask you, like, I need to know, what didn't you like about it? There must have been something you didn't like. You see? So like they're asking you again. Hopefully everybody knows what I said before. What do you do when they do that? Do you go back and think like, oh, my answer wasn't good enough. I have to do better. I have to give them something else. No, you give your answer again. You say, well, no, sorry. Like I said, like my boss was pretty good. The coworkers were pretty good. The work I did was interesting. I got to apply what I knew. Seeing the larger operation was really cool. And no, there wasn't really anything that I would say I didn't like about it. I thought it was a really great experience. You know, so you wriggled out of it again. And you have a smile on your face when you're saying it. That's how you pass that question with flying colors. Well, what about honesty? Isn't honesty a good thing? Of course it is. If you think the best way to make a good impression is to show up and to give a laundry list of all the things you've ever done wrong and all the ways you've failed in the past, if you think that that's a good way to make somebody want to be interested in you long enough to take a good look at you to see your strengths, all I can say is go out and try it. Obviously, you need to have self-awareness. But if you go down and they say, hi, you know, okay, now you're up. Why do you think you would be good for this job? Tell me about yourself. And you say, well, listen, in the interests of honesty, you should know that I hate this kind of work. And I'm not a morning person. So don't try and give me stuff in the morning. Oh, also, you know who really pisses me off? These people. I hate them. I can't stand them. So I really, really hope that there's no people like that in this company. Like if you think that that's a good way to sell yourself and for them to pick you, go out and try it and see what the results are. Full marks for honesty. Full marks for like putting disclaimers on things and saying, listen, this is who I am. And if we're going to get along, you need to know this up front, right? But how effective is that in this situation when you're competing against several other people, all for one job? The idea is that there's plenty of time later to disclose that stuff appropriately, professionally, at the right moment, in the right way, to the right people. There's plenty of time to do that later. But you will not get a chance to do that later if they say, okay, so here's who's moving forward, you, and I'm sorry, you have to go home. They didn't look at you long enough for you to have a chance to say all that stuff. You know what I mean? So hopefully, I think most people get this, but sometimes you get technical people, sometimes introverted people like myself. We don't really see their side of it. We don't realize that's what's going on. We pride ourselves in being honest for the virtue it is, but we may not have the experience where we've realized that that may not come in your first conversation when you're trying to make a good impression.